What's up, people? It's your boy Mike Lana from Hotlanta, coming at you with another video. So, you have your good weeks and you have your bad weeks, man. This is probably, I would call this a bad week for me. But it is what it is, you know. Just gotta keep running. But, you know, I get asked this question a lot. I get asked, how's leasing going? I just left the Atlanta terminal and I got asked that question. And, you know, a lot of people have this same question. So company versus lease. There's the good, the bad, and the ugly. When it comes to company drivers, absolutely nothing wrong with it. This video is not to, you know, say company driving is bad or whatever, or anything like that. Basically, it's to kind of give y'all a little difference between the two. I mean, company drivers, the good thing about a company driver is you don't have to worry about as much. It's not really a lot to worry about. You just drive. They tell you where to go. They tell you where to fuel. And you get your paycheck. And it's a lot of people that stick to company driving because, you know, they don't want to deal with the extra responsibilities. That's one thing. And I think the majority of people that are company drivers are over the age of, I would say, probably like 40. That has been a company driver for a long time. This dog. So that's what they do. There's nothing wrong with that. You know, they're probably retired. I don't know if you can hear this movie. Hold on real quick. Let me pause this movie because I feel like it's too loud. Okay, so had to pause this movie. Watching this movie on Netflix. Kind of good. But you know, there's a lot of company drivers out there that, you know, love being a company driver, and like I said, there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Everybody has their own situation. I find that a lot of people that are retired would do company driving. A lot of people that are retired, probably not married, kids are grown, you know, they love to drive, so they'll do company driving. That's just what they. Hey, stop! That's just what they do. So, I mean, the good thing about company driving is really you just ain't got to worry about nothing. Me personally, I didn't have no issues with it as far to a certain extent. You know, whoever you work for, you tell them how many miles you want to get. You tell them what you're trying to do. And if you have a good fleet manager, they'll make sure that happens for you. I mean, that's the good thing that I can think of. Less responsibility. The bad thing for me, personally, when it comes to company driving, the bad thing for me, and this is for those that are probably in the situation I'm in, where you have 4 kids, you have 4 babies at the house, you know, you got a home to take care of or whatever. And I think the bad thing is, now I'm not talking about other companies because I've only drove for this company. So the home time, that's probably the only, I wouldn't say bad because that's just how it goes. A lot of people like it, a lot of people can deal with it. But for me, it wasn't the right situation for me. So your home time, you got to be out, just to have a week at home, you got to be out 30 or more days if it's still the same. 30 or more days, you're out there on the road, and then you come home for a week. You know, that's something that I couldn't do. And stop. Man, this dog, I swear. That's something I couldn't do, but, you know, a lot of people don't mind. But I feel like that's the only bad part. That could be the ugly part of it, too. Because for a lot of people, when you stay out on the road for a very long time and you have a lot of stuff going on at the house, things can go left. Things can turn, like, to go bad, depending on your situation. There's a lot of people that stay out that long and, you know, everything's good at the house. You know, your spouse or whoever, they understand. You talk to your kids every day. Cool. I just couldn't do it. I mean, I did it, but it just didn't work out for me. And it's probably because I do have four babies. So, you know, when you're, you know, from your kids that long, yeah, it does take a toll on you. Especially when you first starting out. So if you're like a rookie or whatever, and you just getting into company driving, you definitely got to take that into account as far as how are you going to deal with that kind of situation. I know a lot of people ask me about pay. When it comes to company driving, the pay is different for everybody. Even though the company is going to pay the same, well, I can't say that. Some people are getting paid more cents per mile. Some people, the people that's been with the company or they have experience or whatever, are getting paid a little bit more cents per mile than somebody that's never drove trucks before. So, not only that, everybody's driving is a little different. You don't have a lot of freedom. But, you know, depending on your fleet manager, if you don't feel safe driving at nighttime, these night crawlers out here, then, you know, they won't send you a load to where you're driving from 1 a.m. to 7. You know, you're not driving in the middle of the night. You know, that's probably about the only freedom you got right there. It's probably about the only freedom you got. So, pay is different. You can't really talk about pay when it comes to company, trucking, period. I mean, you can't talk about pay. because everybody's pay is different. Some people run hard. Some people don't run that hard. You know, of course, the harder you run, the more money you get. And for those that go around and, you know, you ask how much on average you get paid and all this other stuff just so they can get an idea, it's hard to say. It's all based on how much you run, like how hard do you run. Because you can easily ask your fleet manager, as a company driver, you can ask the fleet manager, can you find a long load for me? I want to do a long load. If they keep sending you these short loads, you just let them know. I'm trying to get like 3,000 miles this week. And they'll do what they got to do. And you just run hard. And, you know, you'll get a nice little check or whatever. But, you know, that's company driving for you. I mean, when you're a company driver, you do as the company says. And they look at everything that you do. Miles per gallon. You know, if they feel like you're using way too much fuel, whether you pressing the gas too much or whatever, they find ways for them to save fuel for their company drivers. And they save more money when it comes to company drivers anyway, because one, when any company, when they get a load, the loads that they get paid, the company gets paid a lot of money for these loads. So as a company driver, because you have the luxuries of free car wash, you don't have to pay for fuel. When all you got to do is just drive, you don't have to pay for anything. Because you have that luxury, yeah, they're going to pay you a certain amount of cents per mile. And every company pays different cents per mile. That's why when people look for companies to drive for, you know, a lot of them look for how much are you going to pay me cents per mile. And I don't know the highs and lows or whatever of these companies. I mean, I heard Prime starts you off at like 43 cents a mile, if I'm not mistaken, 50, whatever. It's probably changed. I think Swift is the same way, 40 something cents per mile. I mean, it is what it is. But I'm parked for the night. So yeah, I think because he came in frontward. But anyway, yeah, I mean, that's company driving for you. And like I said, there's absolutely nothing wrong with company driving. You know, some stuff is just not for everybody, but a lot of people enjoy it. When it comes to leasing, when you decide you want to lease, you're no longer with the company. You're pretty much on your own. You decide where you go. You decide where you fuel. You decide everything. You got to pay for everything. You got to pay your taxes. Your tire blow. You got to pay for that. And these tires are not cheap. For those company drivers out there that don't know nothing about these truck tires, the cheapest truck tire can cost you around $200 to $300. Just to get the basic tire. So this guy about to ask me a question. I had to say, like, everybody want to ask me a question. So, you know, you got to pay. The good thing about Some companies, they automatically take it out of your settlement or whatever, so you don't have to worry about it. But when you get your own truck, and you don't have a company that'll do that for you, you got to put money to the side just in case something go wrong, and you got money to fix whatever you got to fix. The good thing as far as leasing, number one is the freedom. Like I said, you pretty much get to do whatever you want to do. You just got to know what you're doing to make a lot of money. And it's real strategic. It's a strategy when you lease. It's not just jump in the truck and drive. It's a whole strategy when you lease. And like I said, everybody runs a little different. I run hard. Personally, I run pretty hard. So the 11 hours that you get to drive, I try my best to use all the 11 hours that I have that day. Because when you're on them days when you're driving like all day, like I just came from Orlando. I didn't come from Orlando, but the longest trip I took was from Orlando to Texas. I forgot what part of Texas, but it was like 1,100 miles or something like that. And I did it in like, technically like a day, but it took, I would say a day, even though it took 3, if that makes sense. The first day I couldn't drive that far. I only had 2 hours to drive. So I drove 2 hours. It was like a 16-hour drive or whatever. Drove 2 hours. Second day I drove like 10 hours. That's what they call the money day for those that are leasing or owner-operators or whatever. That's the money day, because when the wheels are turning, you making money. So when you do have to drive those 10 hours, you making money that day. That's why, me personally, I choose the long run. I choose the long loads, 800 miles, 1,000 miles, whatever. And for me, the good ones are when, it doesn't have to be dropped off. If it has to be dropped off a little sooner than what I would want to drop it off, because some of these loads, they give you like 3-4 days to drop it off. Those are the ones I don't do. If you give me 2 days to drop it off, oh yeah, I'm running it. And I'm running hard. Wake up, drive, probably don't stop driving to the end of the night. But it's strategic when you're leasing. When it comes to loads, when it comes to fuel, that's another good thing. You get to fuel anywhere that you want to. And like I said, I usually fuel at Quick Trips when I find one, because it's low. These mom and pops gas stations, I fuel there. And I mean, because it's cheap. You don't have to go to these big places like Flying J, which I'm at now, or Loves or something like that. I mean, you don't have to go there, because they'll be the highest ones. But when it comes to that, fuel, it's the freedom of it. You do what you want. If you don't feel like driving, you don't have to drive. I mean, you got to make your truck payments, so that's all on you. That's all in your business. I mean, it's just the freedom of it. The bad thing I would say about leasing, the bad thing is probably, I would say, the loads. Because just because you get to pick your own loads doesn't mean it's going to be a good load. And if the loads that you're used to is not on the board, you got to take whatever you can take, and it could mess up your week. It may be something that you're not used to. It may be where you have to do a 200-mile load just to get to a place where there's more loads available, just to keep it moving. Some areas, you know, once you start leasing, you kind of find out what areas are the good areas where loads would be, especially for the company that you work for, because every company is different. I know what areas not to go into with this company. I know what areas not to go into because it's hard to find a good load out of that area. For instance, Florida. When you go into Florida, there's a lot of short loads. It's a lot of short loads. You may get lucky, like the one I found going to Texas. You may get lucky and get something like that. But it's a lot of short loads. It's like you have to work your way. If you're in like South Florida, you got to work your way up so you can get those loads up north or whatever the case might be. With me living in Atlanta, yeah, I have to work my way up to Orlando to get those loads that's probably going up north, Virginia, you know, close to New York, Ohio, whatever, Texas. And then I work my way back down because I'll catch, when you go up north, there's a bunch of loads up north. And that's with any board. I mean, because it's a lot of industrial stuff that go on up there. So when you go up there, you're guaranteed to find a long load that's headed back down south. So it just depends on what area you're in. It's strategic. You got to know what you're doing. When it comes to fueling, you got to know what you're doing with that. I mean, these fuel prices are going up. So if you down south, the fuel is cheaper down south. Right now, I'm looking at Flying J. It's only $2.99, which is good. It's cheaper, probably cheaper at the mom and pops, but $2.99 is good right now. Right now, if I was up north, close to like New York or Wisconsin or whatever, it'd probably be like $3.50, $3.60, probably close to $3.99 when I was probably in the New Jersey area. So you're paying a lot more for fuel. So, you know, like I said, it's a strategy. So you can get the same amount of miles down south and spend less on fuel and make more money than you would up north. When I do go up north, I fuel for the load, if that makes sense. If I'm only going 500 miles, I'm not going to fill up the tank. I'm going to put 500 miles worth of fuel in there, at least so I can make it down south, and then I get some cheaper fuel. It's all strategy, you know. And I say that's the bad thing about leasing. It's nothing bad about it, but it's a lot more responsibility. If you can't take on that responsibility, some people would say, no, I can't take on that responsibility, man. That's bad. That's just too much. You know, some people can't do all that. And then you got taxes, which I've talked about in my other videos. You gotta put money to the side for your taxes, because trust me, you're gonna owe a whole lot. I owe thousands of dollars before write-offs and all that. And I was only a lease driver for like 7 months, I think. So I owe thousands of dollars, and then you gotta put money to the side. And that's another thing. I don't want to say that's the ugly side. The ugly side, I would say, is not getting the loads that you want so you can have a productive week. But as far as saving money, that would be with the bad and the ugly. I mean, in a way, because you got to be consistent. You got to be, what's the word I'm looking for? You got to be disciplined to put that money to the side that you make. Put a percentage to the side for your taxes. Nothing wrong with leasing. You know, nothing wrong with company driving. I'm sweating because it's hot. Nothing wrong with either one. But it's all on you on what you want to take. You know, what you can handle. You know, somebody asked me the average that lease drivers make. It's hard to answer that question because everybody drives different. I mean, for me, my average, I may have a bad week. So I may not get as much I would get on a high week. I mean, I don't know the average. All I can say is, even on a short week, if you do a good amount of loads, not even a good amount of loads, two good loads, probably 3 good loads, at least your truck payment would be paid, plus whatever you get. You shouldn't make no less than $1,000 on a short week, but you have to do a good load. You know, on a short, if you start, only reason I say short week, for my company, the pay period ends on Saturday. So whatever you do between Sunday and Saturday is what you'll get for that week. So let's say you started on a Tuesday, or even started on a Wednesday. No, I say Tuesday. If you Tuesday bust out a 1,000-mile load that you can drop off on Thursday, and if you get lucky on Thursday, another 1,000-mile load that you could drop off on Saturday, you shouldn't make no less than $1,000. Now that's a short week. So you can only imagine what a Sunday through Saturday week with 2 long loads, a 500-mile load, 800, whatever. You can only imagine what, your check would look like with, then. But, I hope that answered people's questions. I know I probably forgot a few things, but if you got any more questions, you can feel free to comment and I'll answer them. Like I said, I'm at this Flying J. I'm about to start working on this website. So I'm gonna let y'all know the name of the website later. But the website is pretty much just me. It's like a blog or whatever. For all the fans out there that like watching me, it's a website. I'm gonna put like different material on there, stuff that'll enlighten you, or news or whatever, stuff that I got going on. Because whatever I learn, I wanna give it to you guys. I wanna pass on that knowledge, and I can do that through the website. So I'm gonna let y'all know that later. I'm about to go. I'm about to probably get me something to eat. I got food right now that I'm about to warm up and cook or whatever. But make sure y'all subscribe if you're new to this channel. Follow me on Instagram. Follow me on Twitter. And I thank those that are following me right now. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for watching or whatever. I know a lot of you got a lot of questions, and I answer them. I try to answer all of them. But yeah, I'm about to eat. But I thought I'd make this quick video. Hopefully it answered a lot of people's questions. And like I said, as I keep going with this leasing, I'll let y'all know what I learned, and I'll pass the knowledge on. But other than that, keep those wheels turning. Because if them wheels ain't turning, you ain't earning. Keep those wheels turning, baby. I'm going to catch y'all in the next video. Peace.